We are going to understand click listeners in Android. By the end of this video, clicks will stop feeling confusing to you guys. Let's start very simply. What is a click? A click happens when you tap a view. A click happens when you release your finger on the same view. And a click happens when Android confirms it as a valid tap. Alright? When that happens, Android runs your code. That code is called a click listener. So anytime you tap a button and something happens, a click listener is involved. Now, let's look at how we can actually write one. Now, in my main activity, as you can see here, I that's main activity.xml. I have a button here, a button view, and I have an ID button btn action. All right. So in the main activity.kt file, I would I will get a reference to that button by saying var button, setting it to the ID like so, arrow.id.button action, right? So I have a reference to the button in the XML file. Now I'll say button dot set on click listener, and inside this is a lambda. I'll just let me write a toast dot make text, passing the context, passing the string or the message, and the length of the toast. So I'll say toast dot length short, and at the end I'll show the toast. Okay. Alright, so this is a click listener, right? So that means once the button receives an event, a tap or a click, this code, this toast will run. Okay? So Android is saying when this button is clicked, run this code. Alright? That is it. So let's run the application and see the output. Alright, so the app is up and running, and when I click the button, you can see the toast is coming up. Button click. Alright? Okay. So now you might see another way in XML on how to use click. So in the main activity.xml file, we have this line 100.colon, and we set it to any type of text, right? So for these, I'm using this text on button clicked, right? We'll take note of this, and in the main activity.kt file, we shall write, comment that out. We shall write a function. We'll come down to this part, and we'll say on button clicked, and we'll pass in a view. Always make sure to pass in a view, and inside the function we just call a toast as well. Alright, so here I'll say XML click. So let's run this code and see the output. While the app is running, I will say this is an old-fashioned way to handle click in Android, right? Okay, the app is up. So if I click the button again, you see XML click, right? XML click. The first one was button click. So this is a newer way of handling click in Android by using set on click listener, while using on click on the view itself over here, right? This is an old-fashioned way of handling click in Android. Now the next question, okay, one thing that you need to note is the function name must be the same thing as the string in the XML file. So you can see here we have on button clicked, and in the XML file we have on button clicked. So we take note of that. The next question would be, can only buttons be clicked? No. Text views can be clicked, layout can be clicked, almost any view can receive clicks. As long as the view is clickable, it can listen for taps. That's how list items, cards, and rows work. Now let's do something different from something practical. So we'll navigate to another screen by a click of our button. So now I'll remove this code and come here. So now I have an activity here called register activity, as you can see, register activity.kt file. So I want to navigate to this screen. In here, I will just say, instead of calling it toast function, I will just say I'll remove the toast, and I will just say start activity. Start activity, it needs an intent. I will say intent. An intent. An intent needs a context and a string, right? So I'll say this, and passing the activity, register activity, class .java. Okay. So let me run the code. So once I tap this button, a new screen opens, right? So that is click and navigation. That is how apps move between screens. All right, so let's do this. You can see. All right, you can go back, tap, you're in a new activity, a new screen, right? You can go back, tap, all right? All right, so that's about it for click listeners in Android. If this makes sense to you, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and if you have any questions or comments, you can leave that in the chat, the comment section. Thank you.